Alright, good to see you all. Welcome back to another episode of the Show. It is just me today, but don't worry, we've got a great show lined up for you. Today we are building, we're not just building our ecosystems, we are building tools for our ecosystems. And I think in an AI world, um, we need to look at not just how we serve people relationally, but also how we serve them with the different tools. And now this is accessible more than ever with AI in what we build and how we build. And I think with that, there's a piece to it that's like we need to determine a few things. One is, do we buy? Do we build? Or is there somewhere in between? And a lot of the times that in between can be, did someone else build something that we can utilize as our base? And a lot of times there's open source tools online that you can utilize without having to build from scratch. So I'm going to open up a few windows here. If at any point you have a question, please drop the question in the chat. And also, if you're looking forward to something that you want us to build live, or if you have questions at any point, please drop that in the chat. All right, so let's go ahead and get some screen shares going here and start building. Share screen. Here we go. Let's make that a little bit bigger for you. There we go. And perfect. Okay, so right now I'm in the Claude interface, Claude desktop. I utilize the Claude Max subscription, so it's about $200 a month, but it gets me quite a bit of usage. And then also for our agency, we have our own Claude team subscription. So this is nice if I run out of usage on one account to hop to the other, but on my personal account I'm doing a lot of community tool building, and let's show you a few of those. So the first of which is going to be, let's pull this up, sorry. First time doing a full-on live show demo, so bear with me here. We're going to pull up our innovation event platform. You'll see I've been building in here, and in Claude, I've got lots of sessions going. You can see I have things grouped here on the left. Make that a little bigger for you. So all my archive chats there from previous build sessions. And so we built a conference management application for our startup week, which I think we've alluded to on another episode. And I'll pull that up. So this entire application, we utilize AI to build. So we got the front end website here that people can interact with. They can fill out a form if they want to get involved, go through the steps. It's probably telling me I've already got a form started. Yep, start a new application. And then I can say all the ways I want to get involved in the startup week. And then based on what I selected, it's now going to have me start filling out those relevant portions of the form. Our organizers can manage this via the admin portal, and we set up a magic link, so it's just going to email me the code, and then that's how everyone logs in, even our community, once we make it open for the community to log in. That is not set up yet, but we will get there. So here's my profile. Everyone has this profile. You can see we've got it set up to where, if you're an organizer and you had expenses, you can see, the status of your expenses. As we get closer to the event, we can put together our own schedule. We have this office hours for a few of us that are going to be hosts for office hours. We'll be able to set that and build out our profile, see meetings, set our availability. And so if you're familiar, like when is good, it's a similar interface. And I can set my availability for office hours versus volunteering separate, or I can do all at once. But that's just like one panel. Really, the power is here in this admin. So we can have our community intake. So as people want to get involved, as you know, within the program, or sponsors or people, we've got messaging from our contact page that comes in here. If we respond, it's getting tracked via CC. And then the entire management of the week once we get the schedule going. All of our people, so I'm not going to click on this because you will see personal information. Same with organizations in our community, and then our sponsors, so we're managing our entire sponsor pipeline, which then feeds our finance section. You can also manage our website on here, so if I click to Road to November, if I wanted to update that, Inspire, just to show you, it's not going to show right now. There you go, update it there. We're not going to say that. And then we also have our event knowledge base all in one platform. So if anyone's like, hey, how do we do this? That's in here. Our activities, so we can see who's doing what. You can see we've got an agent involved that's doing a lot of creation and pulling of information via MCP, and then all of our event settings. And so this is pretty robust. It's taken, I think on this project, not signed into GitHub and Chrome, but I think we've had over 100 PRs, meaning where we're updating the code base. There we go. And so you can see we've done 773 commits, over 291 PRs. And so that's all of the code management in this application. So yeah, so that is just one of the many tools that we're building. We got this Innovation Weekend platform. That's like if we, for startup weekends, if you have a startup weekend event in your community, then this tool is designed to help guide your participants through the weekend. You can display it on screens. You also have a website. Any of your event resources will have a place to live. Long term, just an easy way to manage your startup weekend event. The donation site, that has been a fun project for another ESO I'm supporting. And we'll use a little bit of the assets from this for today's session. But the whole premise is, okay, how do you make it easy for your community to fundraise on your behalf? And so I kind of pulled this concept from a nonprofit called Charity Water. If you're familiar with Charity Water, they are trying to bring clean water to the entire world. It's a big mission, but they've made a lot of stride and success. And one thing with Charity Water is you can, yes, give monthly on your own, but you can fundraise for clean water. So they made it really easy for people to fundraise on their behalf. So you can find the campaign. People donate their birthdays. They have company pledges. And so we wanted a way to do that for this nonprofit. And so I can pull that up. Log into Vercel. So Vercel is a hosting provider. They make it really easy to deploy your websites or your applications. You don't have to understand how to manage servers. They truly do everything for you, which I love. All right, so I've got several projects in here, including an upcoming Ecosystem Builder Show website. So more to come on that as we solidify the brand. Come back, see if we got anyone. Okay, the giving portal. That's gonna throw an error because that's not live yet. But this was a site that we built. All right, here we go. So the nonprofit is called Echo. They're in North Carolina. They're ESO. Here's their main site. We wanted to make sure that this new site for giving felt connected, on brand, so people would trust it. So here's what we built. So standard monthly giving, right? People can choose an option for monthly. That'll set a recurring subscription inside of Stripe, or they can give once. We also say, hey, donate your birthday, do a walkathon, maybe your business and you want to support, you can do that. So if you want to donate your birthday, you can see others. And here's the sample campaign where Maya is turning 30. She's raising $750. You'll be able to see, who is contributing, if they leave any comments, how much you have left, and how long you have left. So that's the concept there. And one thing you'll notice is it really pulled in a lot of Echo's brand for this. Now we did have to massage that quite a bit to get there, but we did get there in the end. Another one that we're building for Startup Champions Network is a easier way to manage their membership. Everything from, okay, what does my member portal look like where I can see other members, where I can see the benefits I have of being a member. And then on the board side for Startup Champions Network, an easy way for them to manage who are our members and making it really easy to track, who has an active membership, who's is churning, where can we do touch points, and so building that out here. And that does have some live data, so I'm not gonna hop into that. But you'll see here, we're really just building, and it's been a really fun process for me, at least, to go through this process and build. Let's see if we can get you to log in husbandstudios.com to show you this tool. But for today's session, I figured let's go ahead and build together so you can kind of see the process of how to do that, maybe get some wheels turning for you, and also just to have conversation around building to support our community. There's a lot of tools out there that are being built with AI for other communities, also here in Louisville. So a friend of mine and fellow community member vibe coded this site, startup.lou.com, sorry. And so he wanted a way to have stories, pull in different organizations of the ecosystem, have some data around the ecosystem. One part that I really enjoyed was this funding. So starting to see where's the funding is coming from, how much funding, making it really easy for founders to find funding sources, who's in the ecosystem, so mapping that out. And he did a lot of this, building this tool with vibe coding, but also having agents do some research to fill this in. So another AI built tool. But let's come in here. Let's create a new chat. Again, I'm using Claude Code for this. I like to keep things fairly organized so I can quickly move between projects. So I'll always create a group, and we're going to call this welcome to the show. If you are joining us just now, we're doing a live build. We're building with AI. Let us know in the comments if there's anything you're building right now with AI, or if there's anything you want to see us build. Richard is on the plane right now, so we're flying solo, but hoping to still give some value in the context of AI. So appreciate you joining us. And all right, let's dive back in. All right, let me just check YouTube real quick. Get some things going. Anything for your ecosystem. What do you want to see us build? All right, and let's get some music going. That way you're just not hearing me the whole time. That would be horrible. Yeah, there we go. Yeah, that tracks. All right. There we go. All right, so for the tool that we're going to build today, my thought was we do a lot of in-person community building. What would it look like to be able to build a tool to manage that community online, but also be a place for resources, give your community members a chance to build their profile, offers for things that they have to offer the community, but also benefits of the community. And some of this transparently comes from a conversation I had with Echo, who is using a platform right now that's starting to get in their way of being able to serve their community. And so what would it look like if they self-built? So we're going to try that and turn this music down a little bit more. And if you join us, please let us know what you want us to build. If you have questions, I'm going to try and bring you along. But let's go. Let's build. All right, so let's call this a community platform. Okay. And now we've got that right here. I'll create a new session. We're also going to do a few other things. So we'll create a folder for this project to live in on our computer. I have different organization entities, and then I'll have the project in a folder underneath that. So we'll call this community platform. Great. All right, so we created that. We're going to trust that folder. Right now we're going to build locally on our computer. I'm going to bring this here so I can keep track of who is on and engaging. So we got the local folder set up, but beyond that, nothing really else is happening. So the first thing we need to do is tell it, hey, we're going to go into a planning mode to talk through some ideas of what we're building. And one thing I always like to do is, really start to lay out what are the different features we want, why do we want them, what's happening. And so for this community platform, Echo does have, their free community, but they also do have memberships. And so with those memberships, they get access to different benefits. They get access to different cohorts, if you will, to communicate with each other. They get free access to some events or discounted access to others. And so maybe in your community, you might have an organization that has, a paid membership. They get one price, and then, everyone else, where they pay slightly higher. This will be similar to that. Ability to create events. They do a lot of events, and then they want to have that calendar. But again, some events will be free. Some events should have limited, visibility. So that means the top tier can see all events, but then those in the free community can't see the premium events. And then different spaces for them to communicate, different prices based on tier. For their memberships, they want both monthly renewal and annual options at different prices. And then they also, maybe a business wants a seat. So we got several things here, and then all the different feature sets here. So we just took notes after having a conversation with our team to get a rough idea of what they're looking for. So I'm going to copy that. I'm going to paste it here. I'm going to go back to the top, insert a few lines, and I'm going to use a tool called Whisperflow. So Whisperflow is basically dictation with AI that has a layer over it. So it's going to, if you mess up, it'll delete what you messed up. It also is much more accurate. And so for me, I just hold the function button on my computer and I can talk to it. So we're just going to do a quick brain dump of what we're building. Good afternoon. Today we're going to start planning out our community platform. The idea is we want the initial facing site where people that are either members of the community or curious about the community can see what it is, get a preview of what's inside, see the free community calendar. They will be able to see the different membership tiers, the prices, the benefits. And then once they log into the community, then that world opens up even more based on what membership tier they're at. And so I put a few notes below of some concepts. We're going to do a deep dive on each of these concepts, as well as plan this project out for our different phases that we're going to build in, as well as the tech stack. But this is just a good place to get us started. And as always, ask me questions as we go through this planning process until we feel like we have a really solid base to get going. I'll provide some design assets and some design ideas. I'll also continue to provide some direction and maybe some screen grabs of things I like and some things that we don't like about our current platform. But that should get us going. All right, I'm gonna let go of my function button and you'll see it'll put that all there with some formatting. And you'll also see I'm just talking in normal everyday language. We're not gonna try and be something we're not, where we're overly technical. Now I do know a few technical things that I want to implement on this project. And so I'll give that now. Initially, what I'm thinking is it capturing? It's not. Initially, you can see it's not capturing right there. It is for you, but not for me. Interesting. Okay, here we go. Initially, what I'm thinking is we're going to build this with Next.js and Supabase, but I am curious if we should use Sanity instead of Supabase, being that this is going to be pretty content heavy, as well as have its own kind of platform element to it. And so maybe we need both, but definitely going to look for your guidance there. Vercel is where we'll host it. We'll use Linear to manage all of our tickets for this and planning out all of our epics. And then we can use Resend for our email capability. I think we're going to use a magic link to eliminate any passwords. But let me know what other questions you'll have. And then, as always, this will be in the GitHub repo, so that way we can have multiple contributors to this project going forward, but also make it easy for rollbacks and deployment and things like that. So that was a lot of technical speak. You don't have to know any of that. I've just having built a few of these, that is definitely what I've learned that I like to build with, and that I think will be good for this project. All right, we'll take out that line. Okay, I think we've got a good base for now with some notes, but again, we're in this plan mode down here, so it shouldn't be working. It will just start compiling this into a plan. Let's see what it does. And there's a lot of things you can build on, right? There's Lovable, there's Replit, there's V0, which is for Cell's platform. You got Codex with ChatGPT. A lot of different platforms you can build on. I've really enjoyed building with Claude and Claude Code via their desktop app. I like the visual interface. You could definitely build via the terminal if you wanted, but I really like Claude Code Desktop for me. And at the end of the day, that's who's building, so do what's best for your experience for you. All right, let's see what's going on here. So, started by getting oriented, then dig into the big architectural, empty directory. Yep, it's empty folder. Found your existing Echo project. Let me learn its conventions. So it went up a level. We have the giving portal. And so it's doing a little bit of autonomous research, if you will. One thing we did in our last task on the giving portal was, hey, give me a design artifact, so that way when I move into the next thing, you have that context. And so, let's come back here. Alright. So I built out this so you can kind of see the brand direction. You got those elements. And let's just give it back. We'll put this in the group community platform. And you see it's already started to ask us questions. Right now we're on high level, communities, but it's really limiting in feature set and creating a lot of complexity. Especially, and I'm typing, what am I doing? Especially around managing charges for different tier levels, different prices for different membership levels, as well as visibility. And we're really locked into how that platform is built, how it's managed, how it's presented. We do like Circle, and we've been in a few Mighty Networks community. But our hope is that this will be a tool that long term is where everything is living and managed from both the public side as well as the admin side. So having our community calendar, our community that's publicly viewable, but also where our community can log in and access different benefits. Next. So you can see I can pick options here, or I can type in, and so if it's spot on, then I'll go with that, but then sometimes I can choose one of these. So it's asking now, content layer, Supabase, system of record, auth members. All right. Marketing copy lives in code for now, once add sanity later. I think that makes sense for now. So we'll do that. And you'll see it has recommended here as well, so we don't have to know every answer. Forum, channel space is a single base build. How do you want to approach it? Build custom on Supabase. Yep. What has to be true for phase 1 to be worth shipping? For me, it is. Honestly, it probably is. Website, tier pricing pages, community calendar. We probably want to replace everything. They're not going to do a half migration. Alright, so there's my answers, and it's going to keep building. Alright, so why Claude Code and not just Claude Chat? For me, this is all about its capabilities and also staying within one project here and writing a lot of code, knowing that this will be deployed. And so Claude Code does a lot better at that than just like chat or co-work. It's really geared around this building. How do members pay today, and can we require them to re-enter the card cutoff? Small enough to re-enroll, must migrate silently. For me, I know that we can migrate from Stripe. However, can use as native mobile app with push notifications, moving to launch. For launch, we can at least do this one. Which of these are generally required for cutover launch versus nice to have? Board memberships and seats. And you can see on this one, we can actually checkbox multiple. Tiered event pricing, form and channels, member chat. Those are most important. This org membership seats that's coming for them. So we can do that later. All right. Timeline and who's building it? You and me, ASAP. That's how it always goes. I probably should have said, hey, we might have some other builders involved in this project, but for now, we'll do you and me ASAP. We will have other code contributors down the road, but for now, it's just us. All right. We'll take a quick bite of food real quick. See if you have any comments. Yep, that makes sense. All right, so it's doing quite a bit of research on these other tools. Yep, seeing there's no export API. And since we're in planning mode, it's just doing a lot of the research to build a plan. So over here, you can see eventually it'll have the artifacts and the files over here with the plan. And so that'll pop up over here, but it's not built yet. So it pulled our design playbook earlier. Since high level can't export foreign posts, what happens to the community history at cutover? Scrape it. Roughly what does membership tier structure look like in each shaped model? Free. That's good. Calendar distinguishes. And so like when you're building, for me, I always like to make sure I'm building things that have a lot of context for, because if you're building for someone else and you don't know all the answers to these questions, you can kind of get frustrated or stuck in the build process. But when I'm building and kind of building out these building muscles, I like to build on things I know really well. So I really know our startup week planning experience, same with startup weekend planning experience. Also super familiar with like the donation and fundraising side. For our agency, we're building out a few tools. I know, myself, so I can build out this ESO proposal tool and then SCN as well. So I'm building tools that I know. This is a client project where I know the direction, but I always find that it's much easier to build on something that you know really well rather than just doing like hypotheticals to learn this. Ultimately, you want as many or as few barriers in your building journey as possible, so the better you know it, I think the better outcome, or at least the less frustrations that you'll have. All right, the calendar distinguishes echo events from community events. Who can create the community ones? Members can submit, staff approves. Yep, that makes sense. After cutover, what does high level still do for echo? Says the CRM and marketing engine. for now, you might need to go high level if that makes sense. All right, so as it's building, some things that you got to consider are, well, if I build, what are the costs going to be? What's going to be the cost of maintenance? What am I giving up? Do I have time to maintain it? Do I have time if something goes wrong? Especially if you're putting a lot of, like for Echo, this would be something that has dollars attached to it, right? And so you want to make sure that it is stable, it is solid. I don't know how deep we'll get into that on this short stream, but that's super important, because if it's handling dollars, it needs to be secure, but also we want it to be safe, reliable. We don't want to diminish the brand in any way, where if it doesn't work well, then people don't trust the brand, in this case an ESO, very well. And it needs to work for staff. We don't want to give our staff any more barriers or obstacles, knowing that a lot of times our staff of ESOs are already over-indexed or don't have much time. So those are things we're thinking about. The other thing to think about is the cost. So, offhand, like with Vercel, I know that we're looking at about anywhere from $20 a month for that. Rescind, I think we'll be able to get by in the free option for a while, but then after that, it's anywhere from 20 to 40 based on how you're using it. Let's get the screen share. I've got a very sensitive port on my computer that if I bump it, it turns off all my monitors. All right, put this back in here. See what's going on. So decisions are captured. It's starting to put together that plan. You can see creating here, and then we'll see it pop up over here. But I have a feeling that we're gonna need to add more details to this. Sometimes it gives these like really weird names. I asked it about that one time. It's just like, I just need something unique. Like, okay, interesting. I don't know where you got this from, but that happens. All right. So you can see the plan here. It gives some backstory. And we're just going to revise. There are some weird line breaks that are unnecessary. Makes it harder to read. Goals platform Echo ends in. Public facing site remembers something curious. See what Echo is. Preview what's inside. And browse the free calendar. And compare memberships. Because it's high level. Okay. We've got the forum. We've got what we're doing here. You can see some of the tech choices. So it knows we're going to need to sync later. Brought in some of the design elements. What's happening on the server, in the database, data model. It's important to know that we also will have some pro bono memberships for initial years that will move into paid later. We need a way to handle those. Pricing may change over time. Just make sure you caught that. Pricing may change over time, so people on legacy or grandfather plans should be able to stay on those plans, and then anyone that signs up on the new pricing would be at that pricing point. So we'll need to be able to make sure we can handle that. That all looks good. We'll want a calendar feature that has different views, including day, week, month, schedule, and then the calendar should be filterable based on membership tier, type of events, not just like Echo versus community, but is this a workshop? Is this a networking event? Things like that. And that should be able to be managed by the admin of what the types of the events are. Notifications should be both in-app as well as email notifications, with the ability to manage what types of notifications by default at the admin level, but the user level to be able, where they can self-manage their notifications of they just want email, or they just want in-app, or a combination, and which types of notifications get sent to which platform. Phases, foundations, build the technical, grounding, public site, knowing that you got magic link, events and calendars. On the event side, one thing they're running into right now is if a non-member wants to sign up for multiple events and just go ahead and RSVP and pay for those events at once, there's not really an easy way to do that. So we'll definitely want to give the user the ability to select an RSVP and pay for multiple events at the same time, and then track each of those RSVPs on the back end, but also on the front end, it will give them something where it's easy to add to their own calendar, and also mark on the admin side who's registered for what, how they paid, or were they membership tier, and then long-term being able to track check-ins at both the event level, but one thing that was at the bottom of our initial document is Echo also wants to be able to track who's coming in and out of their space each day as well. And sometimes if someone's coming in for an event, we check them in for the event. They should also auto be checked in for the day at that time, since they're already in the space for fewer steps. So as you can see, I'm just going through, I'm just talking through what we're looking for, what we want. It's not totally planned out in my brain. We're just laying out these thoughts in this planning mode. So migration, subscriptions first, yep, and then members and form history, yes. Alright, let's give us some warnings, verifications, things like that. It's got 2 stripe cases. Already in Echo, there's no cross account migration existing. Okay. I always recommend definitely reading what AI puts out, otherwise it might go far in left field and you're like, wait, why did we do that? And now you're having to rework on a lot of, or go backwards, and it's introducing code that you don't need. I am going to copy that and then also say, hey, bring that in here. I copied it just to make sure that we don't lose it like that. But the good news is I have a tool that keeps my copy-paste history. And let's hope that was running just now. Let's see what's going on. Well, we may have lost some of that, but the nice thing is with whisper flow, anything that we dictated, we still have that history. And we're just going to paste in some of the history from whisper flow. Alright. I definitely think we lost some things, but we'll see. Alright, so it looks like it's having issues finding this design playbook, so we'll come in here and we're just going to say, okay, copy this markdown, paste in, paste in. Alright, build. So one thing you'll notice here is I like to put a lot of answers in one prompt rather than answering one at a time. The biggest reason for that is saving on context. So every time I send a message, it's having to take the entire chat and send it back in. So if I can give it more answers in one chat, it's not having to reprocess the entire thread every time. So that's a tip to save on some tokens. You can see how we're doing here. For this session, we're at about 16% on the context window. Once we get closer to 50%, that's when I will start a new session and archive this one, just so it doesn't start to forget and get poor results. Alright, so you saw there I was typing and we just lost what I was typing. So let's try revise. Alright, I think initially for what we want to build is essentially the users, the memberships, the different benefits for each membership tier, and the pricing, and then from there, fulfillment of those membership benefits. So having a flow for after people pay for their membership, they can create their profile, and then that takes them to the calendar so they can start to build out what events that they're going to, especially ones that they get for free. And we should really highlight, hey, as part of your membership, you don't have to pay for this in some way, whether that's like a strikeout price, and they see like the member rate or something like that, just to add more value to the membership. So they'll be able to RSVP to the events that they want to go to, and then after they do that, then they're taken to the community forum page to see what's going on in the community. We definitely want the overall events and events calendar with the different pricing per tier set up from the get-go, and the ability where a non-member can register for multiple events. It'd be great if we had the member directory as part of this, as well as a way for members to add their own events and spotlight the different member businesses and offers, but offers can come later. I think that would be crucial as far as initial, and then the admin to manage it all. But those are my initial thoughts. Feel free to include that or update the plan. I feel like we're really close to being able to start. All right, so I'll just click revise. We'll make that update, and then from there, we'll be ready to build. Some things that you might not see, I already have several tools connected to my Claude. So if you're like, all right, how did you do that? Well, it's because I already connected my account in these tools. There's a lot in here. And then with that, we have different permissions. So for me, if it's read-only, I like to give Claude, like, hey, feel free to do read-only. But if it's write, then that's when I want approval. So anything it's buying, I need to approve it. If it's just updating status, that's fine. But if it's deploying, I want to approve it, and things like that. So that's in Claude connectors. Member directory, Mrs. Spotlight, who can see them, Spotlight, public directory. Public but members choose. For privacy, you said offers can come later, just member to member messaging can later too. Directory need obey. People launch. We can do chat later on. Quiet day in the comments. It's alright. It's alright. Take another bite here. Different views here. Okay, this works. I think the last thing to note is that some benefits are going to be related to app capabilities. And lost our screen. Okay, sorry about that. So some benefits are going to be related to app capabilities and features. Some are going to be more outside of the platform benefits and capabilities. So we'll need to think through how we manage that. As far as the admin panel, the designs of different admin interfaces that I like, you can draw inspiration from. And this is where I really like to give it a little bit of context of like, hey, we want a clean interface. And so there's these sites that have UI UX inspiration. You can come in here and look at different interfaces, app sites to give it a little bit more context. So we can do, let's see. I am a member, so code. All right. So now we're in. So I can do web. We can do dashboard. And if there's any of these that I like, let's say I like the Quicken, or some of them are hidden. What I'll do is I'll just give it a few applications I really like the interface of. And that way it has context of design. So for now, we'll say as far as admin dashboard design, we really like how Stripe or Quicken or Linear or Airbnb or Play or Eros manages. All right, we're really close. You can see I'm just kind of getting a little nitpicky at this point, which can be good. Like if you have pretty good clarity of what you want and where this is going, I definitely say let's include that earlier than later on tools like this, because it's just easier to catch now. Last thing, we want to be able to manage and query via MCP with our agent to help us build and gather data faster. We will also want an admin dashboard and reporting, so we can see members, revenue, member activity, etc. Really close to being able to start building. But I think, that's one thing is a lot of times you'll hear online of oh, I just one-shot this app. You can do that. I just think you're going to create a lot of tech debt and a lot of work later if you do that. So I try to give it a lot of vision, direction, ideas initially, so it can start to plan for that in the architecture of the app. I think when we were building Startup Week, we had to roll back a few things, specifically around how we utilize, people. Everything was kind of text fields, and you had different parts of the app not connecting to the same person object, and so we had to roll that back and build that out. Same with organization, where a founder could have previously worked at an organization, they might work currently at an organization, that organization might be a sponsor or a venue or a host, and so we had all these organizations in different parts of the app. Well, eventually we moved to, hey, here's an organization object, and that can be tapped into any part, and then that way we can really see, how is this organization involved in our event? What are all the different things that it's involved with? Who is it connected to? How is it connected to the event? So really give our team a full picture, because sometimes what happens is, an operations team is working with an organization, but so is a sponsorship, and they don't realize that. And so how can we bring all that data into one? And so doing relational databases and objects when we're building this is a great way to do that. So we'll want to make sure that we have the person and then the organization in this tool, because long term, someone's company could be an organization that has multiple members, and then there will be multiple admins that manage multiple admin levels for both the Echo team as well as the organization admins. Alright, and then we'll move to build. So we're about an hour in, and we've just been planning. And I know that seems like a lot, but it's going to save us a lot of time later. It's amazing how fast and how much AI can build with this good plan. So it'll move pretty quickly here in a little bit. Alright, we got a really solid plan here. So what we're going to do is accept and automate. Alright, so now and then now it's going to start building out some files and artifacts and building out the foundation of the application. And there it goes. it's working on that, we can go ahead and in GitHub, which is where we're going to store all of our code, we're going to set up a code base. So we'll come into our Echo, the giving portal, and now we'll create a new one called community private, create a repo, copy this, and give it back to Claude. Here's the repo. So it's installing all of the elements that it needs to start building this. And then we'll need to wait until it does its first push or commit to the repo before we add it to Vercel. But you can see it's already built a ton of code. And so that's what we're starting to see here is all the different lines of code that it's written. And most of this, if we click on it, is going to be how it's building its local environment. So that's what all that is. And you can see here's the folder. So earlier we created that folder called Community Platform. So it's now starting to create all the files in that folder. We have like this Claude.md file, agentsmd. So these are kind of like base level. These will get built out. It's just building out the basic elements for now. The README. So again, this is basic for now, but we'll definitely build that out here shortly. So it's just putting together the scaffolding, if you will. And you can see it's got several tasks going to finish. So you can see that it's doing that there. Now it's setting up the database. And right now I'm using Opus 5. So it's a pretty powerful model. It's not Fable model, which is like the frontier model for Anthropic. But we're still getting a lot of the planning power and strategic power within Opus. I do find that Fable can actually be pretty good at design, so once we get to that step, we might switch over to Fable for a little bit and then come back down to Opus. Realistically, Sonnet I think would do really well with what we're doing right now, and that's just going to save on our token usage. So Opus is going to burn through our usage faster. Fable burn through our usage the fastest, and you'll see we even have a separate Fable usage limit, which we've not hit on this project or in our account. We just renewed, and I've been using the agency account, so that's why that's low. Bearing with us on this week's episode. I know it's quite a bit different than what you're used to. Richard's been at 1 Million Cups Summit, and really excited to hear about his experience at 1 Million Cups. And then I've been having some back and neck pain, and we also had 2 folks that we had lined up today that had to move some things around. So you'll still see them on the upcoming episode, but we had to push today. So it's kind of a last minute idea, but something that I think, if you're trying to figure out, hey, I wish we just had this. And you don't want to pay the thousands and thousands of dollars for other platforms. You might not need to. For example, the giving portal that we built that could replace a platform like Montera. This platform that we're building could replace the cost of High Level or Circle or Mighty Networks. Now, we are investing time to build this, and there still will be costs for hosting and things like that. But we're going to get much closer to what we want. And I think the other thing for me is, in the age of AI, just being able to play around and test and explore with these tools, knowing that our founders are going through a very similar process, and those that we support are going through, where they're building, many of them building with AI, and so I think this also gives us a better understanding of what they're going through and being able to speak their language, because we're doing it ourselves. So I realize not every ecosystem builder will have the time or the interest or maybe the background. I did have some web development background, so that definitely helps. But at the end of the day, if you're ever unsure, just ask AI, I don't know what to do here, or I don't know what that means, or I have this idea, but I have no clue where to start. AI is pretty good at this point in saying, oh, well, do this way. So, for example, earlier when I mentioned sanity, I'm not sure if sanity makes sense for this, but we're going to work that out later on in the project. For those that don't know, sanity is like a headless CMS, meaning it's where you can store all of your content for a website without having any of the visuals. And then that way you can put that content in different harnesses or visuals, just using different tags, if you will. And AI handles all of that. I, in the past, was pretty against headless CMS like Sanity, because it's like, oh, that's going to limit you to having a developer anytime you want to update anything. Now with AI, you do have the developer that can help you update. Alright, I bumped into that cable again. Let's get this going. See how we're tracking. So you can see, we're just writing a ton of code. Global CSS, that's going to be our styling. We've got our membership, so it's already starting to work on that page. And it looks like this is all getting the database set up, is where it's focusing right now. Yep. A lot of database building, which is really going to set the foundation for the application. So as you can see, it's doing a lot of work on its own, but it's able to because we set that plan. So we've not been interrupted for, I'd say, probably, let's see when it started. We approved the plan here, and that was 8 minutes ago. So it's been going on its own for 8 minutes, 57 minutes in this session, and we've got 30% of our context used, so still plenty left. But a lot of that is because we took the planned approach. Now, if we were just chatting with it, with each of our feature ideas, we would have gone through a lot of context already. Alright, so you can see it has already started to update the Claude.md file and the agentsmd. That's what it's saying. Hey, we're gonna, yep, there it goes. It's updating on how to run locally, and then some of the direction that we set. Earlier I said, yep, it's gonna come here and update this, so it's doing that right now. So now it's starting to build some of the admin side. And 13 minutes uninterrupted. guess he's joining maybe from an airplane. I don't know. I feel like this is Where in the World is Carmen Sandiego, Richard style. Richard wants to know, what are we up to? Richard, we are in the middle of a live build on the show today. So, how can ecosystem builders utilize AI to build tools that will help them support their community? So, right now we're building a very niche example, real world use case for an ESO out of North Carolina, but along the way showing some tools, some process, some tips. So if an ecosystem builder wanted to build, they would know where to start. Currently, AI has been building for about 17 minutes. So as far as what you missed the planning process. So we developed this big old plan with AI of what we're building, how we're building it, why we're building it that way. And that way it had the full context, could set up a good architecture for the platform. We utilize tools like Whisperflow, as well as Mobbin for some inspiration, but really just interacted with AI as you would another person. Told it what we wanted, and it has been building. It's building a ton. If you saw this number drop down, that's because it committed the previous code. So what is that? We can GitHub and look at our Echo repository. Platform. So I push that code out to the code. So now you can see the map, where it's going, what it's working on, the future map, what phase plans for each of these. And it's just building. Just building. Pics from the trip going on. Let's see if we can. I don't know if you want me to pull them up. Oh, look, we've got full on phase 0. All right, looks like there's an error. I'm sure it's going to solve that. This is neat. That's neat. Okay, we got some things going on here. So it's checking some design elements, starting to build a few components here. Let's see, membership. So it's still got to build out some pages. Calendars still got to build. But we got some things going here. Very nice. And it's on brand, which I love even better. All right, let's see what we got going on here. So a lot of times when you're working with Claude, especially, it's going to do a lot of work, and it's been working for 22 minutes to get to where we're at. It gets to a point where it gives you kind of this paragraph rundown, and that's how I know, okay, it's done working for now. So phase 0 is done, push to echo, 3 commits, 19 tests passing, clean build and lint, what's in place, now versus later, great. Admin shell permission filtered, great. Test caught a real authorization hole. I gave the admin event screen on event suite with baseline member. Okay. 2 things it needs from me. Superbase project. Your org only has innovation. I didn't create it since it. Alright, let's go ahead and create that in Superbase. Second, Stripe account. Alright, Stripe will have to come later, but I'll do Superbase now. What you all don't see is I'm in another tab, sign in. The other thing I'm going to do right now is get Vercel going. So I think I can show you that one and we'll be okay. So add new project, import GitHub repo, and then choose this from Echo community platform. Click import. We're going to put that on the Echo team. Call it community platform. It's built with Next. That looks good. I'm going to do the environmental variables off screen for security. We'll click deploy. So what it's doing is it's taking this code and running it through a compiler and then putting it onto a Vercel server. So once that is going, you will be able to access this. Should you be able to access this? We shall see. Let's see who's on. Richard said he had to drop, but I have pictures. To that folder. Okay. And explains and Vercel. Oh. Yes, we need to install. So I got Vercel's environment going. I'm going to add some environment variables. And the first will be database password. integrate. So that is one thing I've learned, is it really helps when your platforms do talk to each other. So I'm on Supabase right now, and we also have Vercel. And so what we can do is integrate these together. I think it's actually from the other direction. Let me make sure I don't have a key showing. Integrations. There we go. Supabase. Already done. Great. Good to go. So that's all connected. Great. Community platform to community platform connect. All right, so that's connected. That is going to push all of our keys over. Great. All right. Good to go there. See how Claude's doing. MCP scope to our agency. That makes sense. All right. We set up Vercel and integrated Vercel in Supabase. So Vercel now has all environment affairs. Two decisions are made you should know about, since it was something an allowance period is for the billing anchor, not the calendar. All right, so it's catching things without, which is great. Thanks. All right, magic link. So it wants us to add this to Supabase. So we can come in here and under authentication, I believe it is under sign in. So since we have Supabase set up, we're going to have that manage. So I'm just adding these so we can log in based on what Claude recommended. Great. Let me know what you need. I just added the callback. All right, so for me, I'm running into a few things here, as you can see. That's just because my computer's managing lots of different accounts connected to the same Claude account. hopefully you would not have so many. So what it's doing right now is it's connecting what it's building to our database environment, so that way we can have parity across local and what's being deployed. I think I said that right. Alright, so it's giving me some things I need to do here, so let's get that going. Dyno service pull down. Vercel enemy pull secret, that makes sense. Add these two to your local environment from Superbase. Don't paste them here. Alright. Give me an example of what I'm pasting, so I can just replace actuals. Alright, and then we're here in the project folder, so you can see we have all these files here, and it's wanting me to write to our environment file, which I'm not seeing in here. Okay, it is there, just wasn't showing on that. Alright, I'm gonna have to rotate all of these now because I just showed them to you. Great. Alright, here's the exact shape. Drop that in. So I'm just working on doing this based on what it recommended. So like I said earlier, sometimes we're just going to tell Claude and have it walk us through. Settings. It says database, but I'm not seeing database in the project settings, so I'm looking for that. Database. Settings. Connection. Alright, let's follow these instructions here. Rotating, super base, project settings, API keys. All right, sorry for that delay there. Just want to make sure we keep this secure. Resync, great. All right, I think we got it good to go. Sorry about that. All right, it looks like I got us all stuck here when I showed those environmental variables, so we're gonna secure this and we'll restart at another time on the live build, show some updates. If you have any questions, please let me know in the chat or in the comment section. Thanks for joining. We will see you in next week's episode with Richard coming back to share about his trip. So see you in the next episode. Subscribe for more. Appreciate you. Keep building, and we're here for you.